Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Visible, the podcast that brings voice to the unseen and misunderstood parts of neurological care. I'm your host, Michelle, and I believe that what we don't see matters just as much, if not more, than what we do. This show is for the patients, the advocates, the care partners, and the clinicians who know that there is so much more to the story. Let's go beyond the visible together. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Beyond the Visible. This podcast has been years in the making, but it took the closing of my business, Resurgence Neuro Rehab, for me to fully embrace this calling. Today, I'm sharing my story, the lessons I've learned, and what you can expect from this space. I started Resurgence Neuro Rehab for three main reasons. First reason being, I wanted to work at the top of my license without being micromanaged in a system that gave clinicians the time and space to provide meaningful therapy. At the top of my license, right? So that means I can provide the best treatment that I know is available according to research without being told how much time I need to spend, or what I need to be doing, and that I need to be doing my paperwork while I'm trying to be the best therapist I can be. I also wanted to offer an alternative to the long wait times and impersonal care of large hospital systems. And finally, I'm so passionate about wellness and maintenance programs, especially for people with chronic neurological conditions who often decline after insurance-covered therapy sessions end. And my people with Parkinson's have this problem. And so I really just wanted to be a solution. And I also feel very pulled to help rural communities because they don't have the same resources as like a city. Albemarle doesn't have the same resources as Uptown Charlotte. So I wanted to be kind of on the edge of rural and urban and be able to provide all these programs. But the model didn't catch on as I'd hoped. Still, that experience became my greatest teacher. And through that experience, I dove into the Parkinson's community, attending events, listening to the movement disorder specialists, meeting patients and care partners, speaking at support groups, going to symposiums, and I've learned directly from everyone's lived experience. And here's what I've discovered. Most people don't know how to advocate for themselves in the healthcare system, and the ones who do often have worked in it. Many physicians that I tried to market to did not even realize that a speech pathologist could work with an adult, let alone they didn't know what occupational therapy was either. So, both speech therapy and occupational therapy have a huge scope of practice, meaning we touch on several different aspects of daily life. Speech therapy, we direct ours towards communication and swallowing. Why? Because they use the same muscles. So we have to know the muscles for speech. Those are also the muscles for swallowing. So that we kind of got lumped in there, but it's actually really fascinating, and I could nerd out on that for hours. The other thing I learned is that in Parkinson's care especially, there's a clear pattern. PT first, rock steady always, and then maybe OT or speech if there's time. And that was alarming to me because I know things. And it was clear to me that the Parkinson's community did not know these same things I knew. So by the time there was time for speech therapy or occupational therapy, voice and swallowing issues had already progressed, and the cognitive changes were already impacting participation. But nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about how cognition affects your ability to move. Even some of the physical therapists and the Rock Steady boxing coaches that I talked to couldn't understand why their patients were plateauing. And when I started hearing more from my patients, why am I taking another medication for this? Oh, you should see how many pills I have to take a day. Of course it's hard to swallow. And I found that a lot of my clients were looking for something outside of pharmaceuticals. Now, please do not misunderstand me. pharmaceuticals absolutely have their place, and some of them are quite necessary. Also, I do not think that my knowledge as a speech-language pathologist goes above and beyond any movement disorder specialist or any of the researchers, which I would love to be. But I don't think my knowledge goes above what the researchers have found. Researchers that are employed by some of these beautiful nonprofit organizations like the Parkinson Foundation, the Michael J. Fox Foundation, the Davis Phinney Foundation. There are a ton of nonprofits for Parkinson's. And so please don't think that I know more than everybody, because I know that I don't. However, I do know a lot about Parkinson's and how it impacts cognition, communication, voice and swallowing, and general movement. So anyway, it left me wondering, now that I have had access to senior therapists, wellness providers, and services that most people don't even know exist that could absolutely change lives, how can I help more people in a better way? Well, now I know the answer to this question. It is right here in Beyond the Visible. We're going to talk about services, therapies, research, challenges, victories from providers, patients, caregivers. I want to hear all the stories, good, bad, ugly. We're here to address the hidden symptoms, right? So those symptoms that the Parkinson's Foundation lists as non-motor, even though some of them are motor, like speech and swallowing and handwriting, those are motor. However, things like cognition, digestion, sleep, mood, those things, hallucinations, are definitely non-motor symptoms. So we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about memory, what executive function is. We're going to talk about attention and divided attention, alternating attention, sustained attention, lots of things. We're going to talk about sleep, hallucinations, nightmares. We're going to talk about sex, because that is important to some people's quality of life. How do you communicate now? We're also going to talk about poop. We're going to talk about urination. We're going to talk about all the things. Depression, definitely mood, motivation, those types of things. We're going to get into it, the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about the things that are beyond the visible, the things that are not tremor, rigidity, short shuffling steps, those things. I'm really excited about it. So together, we're going to change this narrative one story at a time, and I'm super stoked about it. So, thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Visible. If something you heard today resonated, please consider subscribing, sharing, or leaving a review. Your voice helps us reach more people and shine a light on what's too often left in the dark. Until next time, keep going, keep questioning, and keep looking beyond the visible. Until next time.